Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is BGG bringing you the Straight Talk radio call for Thursday, August 27th from Dinar Recaps. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Real quick, let me make sure that I say thank you to everybody that makes DinarUpdates.com the website that it is, and all those people who advertise our calls for us, Dinar Recaps, Dinar Detectives, IQT calls, anybody who's told a friend about us or forwarded one of our emails. Thank you so much. And real quick, I do want to make sure I thank all of us, the personalities that stopped by. Poppy, Caperoni was just in there just a couple minutes ago when I was in the chat room. Million Day on a Thursday just stopped by to say hello a few minutes ago. Rudy, Robin Redhead, Mr. White, T-Man 23, and I'm sure I'm going to miss some of the personalities. But I was Mrs. BGG and I were just talking this morning. It's really it's Dinar Updates is not so much about those personalities. It's the key to Dinar Updates is how everybody pitches in, and it's a community. It's not one particular person that brings information. It's just our news researchers are really the core of what we do. They bring so much news every single day and so much research. And then the chat people, the copiers, the moderators, the people who keep all those posts going every single day, that is such a valuable resource. And that's the beauty of it, is that it's really everybody helping everybody else. And so I just want to make sure I say thank you to everybody, because it's not me or any one single person that does this. It's everybody. And that's the cool thing about it. So I really appreciate it. As far as Dinar goes, I've got a few things to comment on. Generally, things are moving, and I'm gonna point out. And by the way, make sure you support our advertisers that we do have. No Dinar-related advertisers, but those advertisers we do have, appreciate you supporting them. Things are moving. There was just a great article that just got posted in the Iraq Forum news thread. And it says the title of it, and I won't be able to cover this because it just got posted a little bit ago, but the title is the Iraq economy is a puzzle between corruption and a float currency. Very interesting article, excellent piece, but it points out that they're essentially going after corruption in the Iraqi economy, and that is the big problem. On the blog today, and a very condensed blog, by the way. What I do with the news blog every day right now, talked about it a while back, it was just getting to be a huge amount of work, and it really wasn't very productive, as the blog was just kind of a receptacle for all the news, and I've done away with that. I basically pick out, the most 2 or 3 most critical articles a day and just post them and a little commentary about them. I don't, wade through every single thing, but as I'm researching every day, I look at what I think is the most critical things, and I point that out. There was, and I'm going to talk about that Bloomberg article here in just a second. By the way, somebody asked me about all this market fluctuation in the U.S., the ups and the downs, our economy. Does that have anything to do with the RV? Not really. It's just, that's more that internet guru gibberish. Doesn't really, obviously all the world economies have something to do with one another, but, the whole world doesn't rise or fall on what's going on in Iraq today. There are a lot of other things that are going on there. In the blog today, I pointed out there are several things, and these are critical, and I'll buzz right over them, and I'll give you kind of the highlights. It appears to me that they are going to do something about the National Guard law on Saturday. They postponed it. They were going to do it either today or tomorrow, but they put that up until Saturday. Big key, because that is, here's what that does, essentially. If I give you the clip notes on the whole program, it evens out who can be part, it evens out how everything in the security forces, police, army, security, all that kind of, evens out who can be in them, who controls them, all that. And essentially what it really does, it deals with, or it does away with Maliki's private army. That's really the long and the short of that. The upside to that law is it deals with Maliki's private army. Once that's dealt with, he doesn't have his own private army. I put up a tweet. I do a tweet post every so often. I did one that said that the controversial political parties law finally gets the okay from Parliament. It was unanimously voted on today. First time through, voted unanimously. Don't know exactly what the full status of it is, but it's critical because what it does is it depoliticizes all of the all kinds of golly, I got lost there for a second. Depoliticizes a lot of the Iraqi government. So to be certain officials, army, all that kind of stuff, from now on, you can't be part of a political party. And it's exactly reversing everything. Maliki wanted everything run by Shias, everything dominated by Shias, and everything politicized. So when it came time for elections, everybody would have to vote, statistically would have to vote Shia, and that's not going to be the case. In fact, it's going to be illegal now. So for you to, there are going to be a lot of positions in Iraq. For you to join a political party, you have to resign your job first. So that's going to put an end to that. Very interesting article. There was a message sent to President Fuad Massoum asking him to dismiss the crooked judge Medhat al-Mahmoud to meet the demands of demonstrators. Very, very interesting article there. And then finally, there was a piece by one of the up-and-coming clerics, and I don't know, maybe they're calling him a Secretary General of the Arabic Islamic Council, something like that. But he's a cleric, and he's talking about these movements of Soleimani in Iraq to cover up for Maliki. And again, going back to everything I've said recently, is Iran and Soleimani may well think that they want to or will try to cover up for Maliki, but the broad base of support against Maliki and for a Maliki trial. In fact, in this article, there was an actual line in this article that actually bespeaks a trial as though it were as a foregone conclusion. Okay, here it goes. Get this order to cover up the Vice President of the Republic, Nouri al-Maliki, which was the implementation of the Iranian regime's orders and personally received from Soleimani, stressed that Maliki, the trial, will reveal the destructive role of Iran being the head of the snake and the basis of the misfortunes that now beset Iraq and the region. That's a very powerful statement. So they're afraid of the upcoming trial because it's really going to display Iran's role in the region. It's not going to be good for them. And I kind of figured that was their overarching concern. I don't think Iran really wants to save Maliki per se. They just want to save themselves and cover their own fanny. So is Maliki going to go anywhere? Probably. He probably is going to be. I have made forward-looking comments that he's gone, he's done, it's over with, that kind of thing. This just portrays exactly what I'm talking about, and it may, that whole process may take a little while yet, but he's on his way. Regarding that Bloomberg article, if you go back and look at that, my comments were this on that Bloomberg article. And that, by the way, that is not portray. Just because Bloomberg and these two or three quote unquote air quote experts say that Iraq's going to devalue their currency doesn't mean that they actually are. That's time out for a second. Bloomberg did not particularly say that they were going to devalue their currency. I just posted it because I thought it was interesting that a fairly major news source was even talking about it. But if you look at their tone, tenor, and the confused looks around the table, that'll be enough to convince you that what these experts had to say was very, very highly speculative. And if Iraq, here's the deal. It boils down to this more than anything, because there were some comments in that dissertation I thoroughly disagree with, and I'll be glad to tell you, give you some straight scoop on that. If Iraq gets Maliki tossed out and according to these quote unquote experts, they depeg or float, it's going to go up immediately. If what they're saying is, if what they're saying actually happens, I don't necessarily believe that. And some of the other issues here, some of the other things at issue, they're talking about the peg in regards to the 1166 fixed regime. That's what they're talking about, the peg versus, peg typically refers to the dollar, the Iraqi dinar pegged to the dollar. They are using the term pegged as regarding the 1166 as a fixed regime, not particularly as though it's pegged to a different currency. The other thing that I had a big problem with in this is that one of these commenters talked about the fact that Iraq has spent nearly $30 billion defending that 1166 rate, and that's ludicrous. That's not even. It's so far away from accurate. I can't hardly believe that he even bothered that the words came out of his mouth. The other stupid thing he said in this article was that Saudi Arabia was going to have to, revalue their currency downward. Also, that's idiotic. That's almost as dumb as the first comment. But the real problem here, and this is exactly why the IMF and the World Bank came out, and they threatened Iraq with not having anti-money laundering laws and procedures in place, and also probably something about this investment law happening very soon will probably help Abadi's case a lot. Everything that they're doing right now helps a lot because there's these great articles coming out. There's the National Guard law, the political parties law, all this stuff being put in place right now. And then you've got them attacking corruption stem to stern. There's next few days, some of these major players are going to be dealt with in the parliament, or at least the first step. By the way, I don't believe anything. Some of these guys may have had some time to gather their forces, so to speak, in parliament and come up with. But all of these parliamentarians, they already voted on Maliki, and they voted on him twice. One was just a simple show of hands. One was early on was a vote by a parliament to affirm these reforms that Abadi was not put in place, which essentially was a vote on Maliki. So they voted essentially on Maliki twice now. Both of them were highly, highly against Maliki. I expect even all these other characters, allowing Najafi, all these characters, including Maliki, I think the same thing is going to happen. Once it comes out that these jokers were in the middle in this corruption up their ears and all in it together, the people's representatives are not going to be very happy about this. But again, going back to this $84 billion, Central Bank of Iraq's reserves have gone from $84 billion to about $59 billion, reportedly. Sometime, I would say early spring, they were around $84 billion, and they're now currently $59 billion. There's a lot of potential reasoning for that, but it's very clear that the Central Bank of Iraq has spent a lot of their reserves through the whole auction process. But here's the bottom line: Maliki and this corruption has been siphoning off Central Bank of Iraq reserves this whole time, and the key is how quickly do they deal with him right now. That's going to be the key. The Central Bank of Iraq has not spent $30 billion defending the 1166 rate. They have spent $30 billion because the Central Bank of Iraq's leadership is as corrupt as Maliki, and they have been just whittling away those reserves as quickly as possible. That's what the IMF and the World Bank is upset about. That's why they want these AML procedures put in place, and that's why these threats were essentially, they were veiled, but they were directed at Maliki and his gang of thugs. So that's what this is all about. So this Bloomberg article, don't let it freak you out. There may be some bumps in the road here and there, but things are definitely moving. Is it going to be overnight? I kind of doubt it, but I'm very encouraged by where things are going right now, and as I've said all along, the last few days have been exciting. Next few days will be exciting as well. A lot of things are being put in place right now. So, as long as that goes the way that we think it will, things are, what we would like to see. It's going good and it's in good shape. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. That is our Straight Talk Radio call for the day. Tune in, stay tuned in, and we will continue to bring you more Dinar news, Dinar info, and Dinar commentary as we're able. Have a great day.